Success doesn't come to the person who talks big. It comes to the person who finally gets serious. If you really want to attract real success, you need to stop chasing everything out there and start fixing what's in here. That's where it all begins. Most people think success starts with more effort, more hustle, more doing, but they skip the first step. They never take a good look at themselves. They don't fix their habits. They don't fix their thinking. They don't fix the small things that are holding them back. And that's why they never see real progress. You don't attract success by chance. You attract it by becoming someone who's ready for it. You don't need a new plan. You need a new standard for how you live, how you think, and how you show up every day. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to fix first, so success has a reason to find you. Number one, own your flaws before you chase anything big. You want to attract real success? Then here's the first thing you need to do. Own your flaws before you chase anything big. Now, I know most people don't want to hear that. They want the shortcut. They want the formula. They want the strategy, the hack, the tool, but they don't want the truth. And the truth is simple. You cannot build anything solid on top of denial. If you ignore your flaws, you'll carry them into every decision, every relationship, every opportunity. And they will show up at the worst time. If you want real success, the kind that lasts, the kind that doesn't disappear the moment things get tough, then you have to start with the one person you can't lie to forever: yourself. Most people are trying to build their dream life while still running from what's broken inside them. Instead, they want to build their dream life while still running from what's broken inside them. That's why they keep starting over. That's why nothing sticks. That's why they jump from one thing to the next. They want the result, but they won't face what's stopping them from earning it. And it's not the world that's stopping them. It's them. See, it's not a weakness to admit you have flaws. It's strength. Weak people lie to themselves. They pretend they're doing great when they're not. They hide behind excuses and blame. They keep telling the same stories about why they can't do it. Strong people, they look straight at their problems and say, "That's on me, and I'm fixing it." Success doesn't begin with a goal. It begins with self-awareness. If you're always running from who you really are, you'll never have the energy to become who you want to be. Denial takes energy. Lying to yourself takes energy. Wearing a mask takes energy. And all that energy you waste avoiding your flaws is energy you could have used to grow. The reason some people never make progress isn't because they're not smart or talented. It's because they're not honest with themselves. They avoid the work that matters. They avoid the uncomfortable truths. They avoid taking full responsibility. That's where the entire game changes. The day you take ownership of everything that's wrong, that's the day you start building something right. Ask yourself the hard questions. Are you lazy sometimes? Say it. Are you distracted more than you should be? Admit it. Do you quit things when they get boring or hard? Be honest about it. Because until you own those things, they will control you. And nothing you build will last. Most people are not failing because of their external situation. They're failing because of their internal habits, the way they think, the way they talk to themselves, the way they avoid what's uncomfortable. But here's the good news. When you own your flaws, you take away their power. When you face them head on, you can do something about them. That's the first real step to success. It's not reading more books, it's not getting a better planner, it's not waiting for the right time. It's facing yourself in the mirror and telling the truth. Because once you do that, once you really see yourself, you can begin to change yourself. Nobody becomes disciplined by accident. Nobody becomes successful by chance. Every real achievement comes from clarity, from self-respect, and from accountability. You won't attract anything valuable until you become someone who can handle it. And think about this. If you're still avoiding your own weak points, how do you expect to lead anyone? How do you expect to attract strong people into your life? Strong people are drawn to other strong people, not perfect people, but real people. And you can't be real if you're hiding. So take responsibility for your distractions. Own your lack of consistency. Own your insecurities. Own your jealousy. Own your anger. Own your bad habits. Because they're yours. They're not your parents' fault. They're not your boss's fault. They're not society's fault. They are choices you've made and habits you've kept. But the best part? You can change them. You can rebuild. You can rewire your mind. But only if you stop pretending they don't exist. I've met people who had talent, skill, and opportunity and still stayed stuck because they wouldn't admit what was broken. And I've met people who started with nothing but honesty and ended up building a life they were proud of. Why? Because they did the hard work inside. They weren't afraid to say, "This is my fault, and I'm fixing it." Now ask yourself, what are you still hiding from? What flaw are you still protecting? What truth are you still afraid to face? That's your starting point. That's what you need to fix first. Because if you ignore it, it will grow. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to break. You don't have to be perfect to succeed, but you do have to be honest. You do have to show up real. That's how you build self-respect. That's how you earn confidence, not by pretending to have it all together, but by taking responsibility for what's falling apart and doing something about it. Your flaws are not the problem. Hiding them is. Ignoring them is. Justifying them is. But if you confront them, if you decide that you're no longer going to let those things define you, that's the beginning of strength. So today, instead of chasing more success, chase more self-awareness. Instead of asking how to win, ask what's been stopping you from winning. Instead of pointing at the world, look at the man or woman in the mirror. That's where everything begins. And once you do that, once you stop running and start fixing, you'll notice something powerful start to happen. Your decisions get sharper. Your confidence starts to rise. You start showing up better, more focused, more grounded, more disciplined, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Success isn't something you just go out and find. It's something you attract by the person you become. But you can't become someone great while still dragging around who you've been pretending not to be. So face it, own it, and fix it. That's how you start. That's how you get real. And that's how you attract real success. Number 2, stop pretending you're trying when you're not consistent. If you're serious about success, the first thing you need to do is stop pretending you're trying when you're not consistent. Because pretending doesn't move your life forward. It just makes you feel better about not showing up. And that might work for a while. You might convince people around you. You might even convince yourself. But sooner or later, life catches up. Results don't lie. You can't fake growth. You either do the work every day or you don't. Move anywhere meaningful. Trying is not the same as committing. Anyone can try for a day. Anyone can be motivated for a week. Anyone can be excited in the beginning. But what really separates people is what they do when the excitement wears off. Consistency is what shows if you're serious. Effort without consistency is just performance. It's noise. It's a distraction. It gives the illusion of progress, but deep down, you know you're standing still. You see, too many people are in love with the idea of success, but not the process that creates it. They like posting about their goals. They like talking about their dreams. They like making plans and setting deadlines. But when it's time to show up, when it's time to work on the days when no one's watching, they disappear. Then they say they're trying. They say they're doing their best. But they're not consistent. And if you're not consistent, you're not really trying. You can't expect your life to change when your habits stay the same. Doing the right thing once a week is not enough. You don't become disciplined by working hard on Mondays and quitting by Thursday. You don't earn results by pushing for 2 days and disappearing for 5. That's not how life rewards you. That's not how progress is built. And I'll tell you something else. Pretending that you're trying creates more damage than just being honest about your lack of effort. Because when you pretend, you start blaming other things for your lack of results. You say, the method doesn't work. You say, the timing is wrong. You say people don't support you, when in reality, it's your inconsistency. And until you face that, nothing is going to improve. Being consistent means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing what needs to be done, not just when it's convenient, but when it's boring, frustrating, uncomfortable, and even when it feels like it's not working. That's where the breakthrough happens. That's where you start to see change. Look at anyone who's built something great. Look at anyone who's turned their life around. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen because they felt motivated every day. It happened because they kept showing up. It happened because they decided they wouldn't give themselves an exit every time things felt hard. They didn't pretend, they committed. And that's what makes the difference. Success doesn't ask you to be perfect, it asks you to be responsible. Responsible for your time, responsible for your choices, responsible for your consistency, because every missed day is a message to your future self. And that message says, I don't care enough. When you skip your own goals, you're telling yourself they don't really matter. And the more you do that, the more you believe it. You have to treat your own word like a contract. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Not for applause, not for a reward, but because you respect yourself enough to follow through. That's the mindset of someone who actually wants to win. That's someone who doesn't need motivation to do what matters. Some people say they want a better body, but they don't show up to train. Some say they want a business, but they only work on it when it's fun. Some want financial freedom, but they never track how they spend their money. Wanting is not enough. Wishing is not enough. Pretending to care is not enough. What changes everything is consistency. You'll never master anything you only do once in a while. You don't become good at something by touching it occasionally. You become great at something by doing it so many times that it becomes who you are. That's what consistency does. It doesn't just get you results. It changes your identity. You stop being the kind of person who starts and stops. You become the kind of person who follows through. You become dependable, focused, real. And the truth is, if you're not consistent, your words stop meaning anything. People hear you talk, but they don't believe you anymore. They've heard you make promises. They've seen you get excited, but they've also seen you disappear. You start to lose credibility, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and don't follow through, your belief in yourself takes a hit. And enough hits will make you doubt if you're capable of anything big at all. But the good news is this: you can turn it around. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to start being real. Start with one thing, one action. Do it every single day without fail. Build the habit of follow through, and then build on that. That's how momentum starts. That's how self-respect grows. That's how confidence becomes real. Not by hype, not by talk, but by execution. You need to stop pretending you're giving your best when you know you're not. You need to stop lying to yourself just to avoid discomfort. If you're tired, say you're tired. If you're distracted, admit it. But don't cover it with fake effort. Don't post about the grind if you're not in it. Don't talk about change if your behavior looks the same. It's time to face the truth. You can't fix what you refuse to acknowledge. If you really want to grow, own your inconsistency. See it for what it is. Then make a real decision. Either keep lying to yourself and stay stuck, or build something that actually lasts by becoming consistent. Not just when life feels good, but every day. This is what separates winners from wishers. Consistency builds discipline. Discipline builds trust. Trust builds momentum. And momentum builds success. But none of that happens if you're still pretending. None of that happens if you keep starting over every week. None of that happens if you talk more than you execute. So ask yourself right now, what are you pretending to be committed to? What are you claiming to care about but not showing up for? What's one area of your life that deserves real consistency? Not words, not promises, but real action. Make a choice to change that today. Not tomorrow, not next month, today. Don't announce it, don't wait to feel ready, just start. And don't stop. Because when you stop pretending and start doing, that's when everything begins to change. That's when you finally become the kind of person who gets results. That's when your habits line up with your vision. And that's when success stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. Number 3, build habits you don't need motivation to follow. If you really want to succeed, stop depending on motivation. You can't trust it. It's temporary, it fades. One day it's there, the next day it's gone. You feel fired up in the morning, and by evening, you're making excuses. That's not a strategy. That's a trap. And that's why the most successful people in the world don't rely on how they feel. They rely on the systems they've built. They rely on habits. And not just any habits. They build habits they don't need motivation to follow. Motivation is emotional. It's based on energy, on excitement, on a temporary feeling. But habits are structural. They're built into your daily routine. They happen because they've been repeated so many times that they've become automatic. When you create habits that don't ask for permission from your emotions, you give yourself the power to keep moving, no matter what's happening around you. People who keep waiting to feel ready are the same people who stay stuck year after year. They keep starting over. They keep looking for that spark again. But what they don't realize is that success is not a spark. It's a system. And until you build that system into your life, you'll always need some outside push just to move. Now here's what most people don't understand. The point of a habit isn't to impress anyone. It's not to post about it. It's not to talk about how hard you're working. The point of a habit is to make discipline automatic. So you don't need to convince yourself every day. You don't need to fight with your own mind just to get started. You just do it. The same way you brush your teeth or put on your shoes. No emotion, no drama, no decision, just action. That's what builds momentum. That's what creates long-term change. Not bursts of effort, but quiet, repeatable actions done consistently. The kind of habits that don't care how tired you are. The kind that happen whether you feel like it or not. And those are the habits that separate the people who only dream from the ones who actually build something that lasts. You have to stop designing your day around your mood. You have to stop giving your feelings the power to decide whether you do the work or not. That's not how winners operate. They build habits that work even when they're exhausted, even when they're stressed, even when they're overwhelmed. Because that's real life. You won't always feel like doing what needs to be done. But if the habit is strong enough, you'll do it anyway. Look around you. Look at anyone who's consistent. You'll see they've turned their priorities into habits. They don't wake up wondering what to do. They already know. They don't spend energy deciding whether to start. They just start. That's freedom. That's control. That's how you stop wasting time and start moving forward with real purpose. Building those habits isn't easy at first. In the beginning, it feels uncomfortable. It feels forced. Your brain will try to pull you back into what's familiar. You'll hear that voice telling you to do it later, to take a break, to skip one day. But here's the truth. If you listen to that voice, you're done. That voice doesn't care about your future. That voice only cares about comfort, and comfort never made anyone strong. So the only way to win is to stop negotiating. Don't make it optional. Don't ask yourself if you feel like doing it. Just do it because you said you would. Do it because it's on the plan. Do it because that's who you are becoming. That's how you turn your daily actions into part of your identity. You don't need to feel motivated to drink water in the morning. You don't need to feel excited to walk for 10 minutes. You don't need hype to read a page, to write your thoughts, to shut off distractions. You just need to make them part of your life. And once they become part of your life, you protect them like your future depends on it. Because it does. The big results don't come from the big moments. They come from the small things done over and over. But people ignore those small things. They think it's not working because it doesn't feel intense. They want something that feels powerful right away. But here's the truth. Power is in the repetition. Power is in the boring, daily discipline. The things no one sees. The actions that don't make noise. Those are the ones that create real success. You build momentum by doing the same thing at the same time every day. Not because you're inspired, but because it's what needs to be done. You eat clean, not when it's easy, but when it's most tempting to cheat. You focus not when you're in the mood, but when your mind wants to wander. That's how you build resilience. That's how you build habits that actually shape your future. It takes time. It takes patience. But most of all, it takes honesty. You need to be honest about what you're doing with your time. You need to be honest about how often you break your own rules. You need to admit how many things you start and stop. Because once you tell the truth, you can change the pattern. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. What you need is structure. You need a clear system. You need non-negotiable actions that happen daily no matter what's going on. That's the real key. Not to get pumped up, but to stay locked in. To stay consistent when things get boring, when life gets messy, when the schedule falls apart. That's what discipline looks like in real life. And you don't start with 10 new habits at once. You start with one. You build it until it's automatic, until it fits into your day like brushing your teeth. Then you build another, and another. That's how real growth happens. Not through pressure, but through persistence. Not through emotion, but through repetition. The people who win aren't better than you. They're just more consistent. They've built habits that serve their goals. They've removed the choice from their routine. They've made success easier by making effort automatic. You have the same ability, but only if you stop chasing motivation and start building habits that don't need it. Only if you stop waiting to feel ready and start showing up whether you're ready or not. Only if you stop depending on emotion and start depending on discipline. That's where the real shift happens. When you wake up and do the work, no matter how you feel, when your habits are so solid, they carry you through the bad days. When your actions speak louder than your excuses, that's when life starts to reward you. That's when your momentum becomes real. That's when success stops feeling far away, because you're building it, brick by brick, every single day. Number 4. Ask yourself what you've been avoiding for years. If you want to change your life, you need to get real about the one thing you've been avoiding. Not the easy things, not the surface level problems, but the one truth that's been sitting in the back of your mind for years. The one that makes you uncomfortable every time you think about it. The one you keep pushing away with distractions, noise, and fake busyness. That's where your growth is. That's where your next level is hiding. Until you face it, nothing else will change in a real way. Everyone is avoiding something. You don't get to rise while running from the truth. Maybe it's a decision you've been putting off. Maybe it's a conversation you don't want to have. Maybe it's a responsibility you've been dodging for years. Whatever it is, if you don't face it, it keeps controlling you. And the more you avoid it, the heavier it becomes. It shows up in your energy, your mood, your progress, your results. You can't escape what you refuse to deal with. People think success is about strategy and tools. But most of the time, it's not about what you need to add. It's about what you've been avoiding. That's where the block is. That's what's been slowing you down. Because every time you avoid something hard, you lose a piece of your own respect. And without self-respect, you don't move forward. You might stay busy. You might make progress in the small things. But the big shifts only happen when you stop running. Avoidance is quiet. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides behind reasons that sound logical. It tells you you're not ready. It says it's not the right time. It convinces you that you'll deal with it tomorrow. But that tomorrow never comes. It just gets buried. And the more you bury it, the more your future suffers for it. Ask yourself this, and be honest. What have you been running from? Not what do you wish was different, What have you flat out avoided facing? Is it a bad habit? A toxic relationship? A goal you abandoned because it felt too big? Is it the way you treat your body, your money, your time? Is it the fear that you're not who you pretend to be? Because until you look at that directly, you're just building on top of a weak foundation. There are people who stay stuck for decades, not because they lack intelligence or ability, but because they're afraid to face one painful truth. They spend years working around it, trying to find a way to grow without dealing with it, and it doesn't work. You can't win that way. You have to go through it. You have to face it head on and take back control. You know exactly what it is. You don't need anyone to tell you. It's that one thing you keep thinking about, but always push away. It lives in your silence. It shows up in your anxiety. It steals your energy even when you try to ignore it. You might not talk about it, but you carry it. And the only way to stop carrying it is to confront it. Stop pretending it will go away on its own. It won't. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to fix it. That moment doesn't exist. The only way to move forward is to stop making excuses and deal with it now. Not next week. Not when you're in a better place. Now, because your future doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It moves forward with or without you. Most of the time, what we avoid the most is the exact thing that would free us. That hard decision, that conversation you've been dodging, that goal you've buried under fear, that responsibility you keep pushing to the side. It holds the breakthrough you've been looking for. But you won't get it until you face it with full honesty. Stop telling yourself it's not that important. Stop pretending you've got time. You've had time, years maybe, and still it's there. Still controlling your choices, shaping your outcomes, keeping you from becoming the person you know you're capable of being. That has to end now. You can't build a powerful future on top of lies you tell yourself to feel safe. Facing it doesn't mean you'll fix it in a day, but it means you've stopped hiding. It means you've decided to stop giving your fear more power than your goals. It means you're ready to lead your life instead of reacting to it. And that shift, that moment where you say enough, that's where real strength is born. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about fixing everything at once. It's about starting where it matters most. It's about choosing truth over comfort. And once you do that, everything begins to change. Not all at once, but steadily, deeply, and permanently. You get your clarity back. Your mind gets lighter. Your confidence grows. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped running. You won't feel strong right away. In fact, you'll probably feel uncomfortable. But stay with it. Keep showing up. Take small steps if you have to. Make a plan. Take action. And hold yourself to it. Because the moment you start facing what you've been avoiding, you stop being a victim of it. You stop being controlled by something you won't admit. You deserve a life that isn't shaped by fear. You deserve results that come from courage, not denial. And you won't get any of that until you ask the hard question and give yourself an honest answer. That's how you take back control. That's how you start becoming who you were meant to be. So ask yourself right now, not tomorrow, not next week. What have you been avoiding for years? Say it out loud. Write it down. Look at it. Then do something about it. Not to impress anyone, not to prove anything, but because you're done being stuck, because your future deserves more than your avoidance, because you're tired of carrying the weight of what you refuse to face. This is your moment, not to be perfect, but to be honest. And that honesty will lead you to the discipline, the focus and the results you've been chasing. Face it, own it, deal with it. That's where real progress begins. That's when success becomes possible, not just as an idea, but as something you're finally ready to earn. Number 5. Take action, even when your mood says no. You wake up to the alarm, and your first thought is to stay under the blanket, because the room feels cold, and your mind feels heavy. Your mood is warning you that today might be difficult, and everything inside you tries to bargain for 10 more minutes. An easier task, a slower start. At that exact moment, you have two choices. Obey the feeling or honor the promise you made to yourself. The choice you make in that minute decides who holds the steering wheel for the rest of the day. The quick mood that changes with every small wave, or the deeper part of you that wants a better life. When you swing your legs onto the floor, even while your chest feels tired and your head feels crowded, you teach your mind a new rule. Action leads. Mood follows. Feelings or weather changing from clear to cloudy. Without warning, But action is architecture built brick by brick, whether the sky is bright or gray. If you wait for perfect energy, you give away control to something that does not respect your goals. The person who shows up only when excited lives on borrowed time, because excitement is the shortest-lived fuel in the world. Real progress comes from movement that starts on command, not by chance. Every time you take one step while your motivation is low, you send a clear message to your nervous system. We do what matters, no vote required from our feelings. That message grows stronger each day until it becomes automatic. Think about the simple act of tying your shoes before a run. The laces feel stiff, your legs feel heavy, and your mind hands you a list of reasons to skip. You tie them anyway. The cool air outside brushes your skin and your joints complain for the first minute. You keep going. 3 minutes later, your breathing finds rhythm, and you notice the smell of fresh morning air, the steady pulse in your ears, the warmth spreading through your muscles. The mood that once whispered, "Stay home," now cheers for you, because motion changed the chemical story in your blood. The same pattern applies to writing when the page looks empty, making calls when rejection feels close, studying when distraction invites you away. Action begins as a push and ends as a pull. To make this real, you need clear targets, set the night before, so morning you does not debate with sleepy you. Write down the one non-negotiable task for the day, just one, and place the note where your eyes land first thing. Promise yourself that nothing else earns your attention until that task sees progress. Then build a tiny ritual that moves you forward without any brainstorming. It could be opening your laptop the moment the coffee finishes brewing, or stepping onto the mat before your brain reviews excuses. Ritual removes choice, and that removal is freedom. When there is no decision, there is no delay. Track your actions in a visible place. A simple notebook, a wall calendar, or even a row of check marks on your phone. Each mark is proof that you acted when you did not feel like it. Watch the chain grow. A clean streak gives you tangible evidence that you are becoming reliable. If you miss a day, do not insult yourself or look for drama. Just restart the count at 1 the next morning. The goal is not perfection. The goal is a life ruled by commitments instead of moods. Notice how your body influences your mind. When energy dips, stand and stretch your arms overhead. Take 10 slow breaths. Splash cold water on your face, or walk for 2 minutes. Small physical shifts tell the brain that something new is happening, which breaks the loop of low drive. Keep water within reach and drink it often, because dehydration quietly steals focus before you feel thirst. Feed your body with real food at regular intervals, so you do not confuse hunger with lack of willpower. Respecting your biology supports the discipline you are building. Guard your environment. If the phone on your desk flashes messages, place it in another room until your key task is done. If social media tabs sit open in the browser, use an extension that blocks them during work hours. The fewer temptations in sight, the less fuel your mood has for distraction. Let friends know your schedule. Ask them to call after your work block, not during it. When the people around you understand your boundaries, they often respect them, and that removes one more potential excuse. At night, review the day with honesty, but without judgment. Ask, did I act when my mood said no? If yes, recall the specific moment and feel that small surge of pride. If not, identify the exact barrier. Was it unclear priorities, a messy workspace, or a sudden interruption? Plan a fix for that single barrier tomorrow. Improvement lies in specific adjustments, not broad blame. Write tomorrow's main task on a fresh note. Set out the tools needed, and place them so morning you steps into a prepared scene. Preparation turns the next sunrise into an invitation rather than a hurdle. Understand that the skill of acting without mood approval grows like muscle. The first reps feel shaky. Later reps feel natural. Missed days will happen, but they do not erase the strength you have built. They only remind you that consistency needs maintenance. Speak to yourself with firm respect. I missed yesterday, but today I am back on track. No guilt, no dramatic language, just a clear return to action. This steady, calm response trains your mind to recover quickly instead of spiraling into regret. Celebrate progress in ways that do not weaken your discipline. A short walk outside, a few minutes of music, a stretch, a grateful note, small rewards that align with health and clarity. Avoid rewards that undo your effort, like overeating junk or wasting hours in passive consumption.
Keep the celebration light, positive and short, then move on. This trains your brain to associate effort with genuine well-being instead of emptiness. Remember why you chose this path. You want control over your future, respect from yourself, and the power to help the people you love. Those outcomes only appear when you can push through dullness, worry, or fatigue. The world does not wait for your best mood. Opportunities show up on random days, and readiness means being able to act regardless of emotional weather. Each time you work when you feel flat, you widen the gap between you and the person who waits for perfect motivation. Over months and years, that gap turns into a difference in skill, income, health, and influence. Share this approach with someone close. Teach them the principle of acting without mood permission. Teaching reinforces your own understanding and builds accountability. When two people practice the same standard, a friendly glance can remind both to stay on track. A short message that says "task done" can motivate the other to finish theirs. Community built on discipline multiplies progress. Accept that life will test you with days of grief, illness, or urgent demands from family. On those days, shrink the task but keep the streak. If you cannot run for 30 minutes due to sickness, walk for 5. If work chaos blocks an hour of study, read one useful paragraph. A minimal version keeps the identity alive. I am still the person who acts. When the storm passes, return to full intensity quickly, before comfort tempts you to drift again. Success seen from the outside often looks like talent, luck, or timing. Look closer and you will find thousands of moments where someone chose action over mood. A writer typed paragraphs while feeling when inspired. A trader reviewed charts after a loss. A teacher prepared lessons during personal stress. The pattern stands across all fields. Mood tries to rule. Dedication quietly overrides. Starting now, decide on one task that matters for your next chapter. Make it concrete and measurable. Schedule the first block of time within the next 24 hours. When that block arrives, notice every feeling that tries to delay you. Then begin anyway. Do not wait for a spark. Do not read another tip. Move your hand, open the file, make the call, step on the treadmill, speak the first word. Action first, emotion later. Repeat tomorrow and the next day. Soon your brain will learn we move no matter what. That lesson changes everything, because once your mind trusts you to act under any mood, it stops resisting and starts supporting. Who you become in 5 years depends less on natural inspiration and more on how often you act when you least want to. Every reluctant step today is a brick in the future you admire. Lay one brick now, then another. Build your path. Let virtue measure your days, not fleeting emotion. Take action even when your mood says no, and watch your life rise on solid ground.
Number 6, drop the fake confidence and do real hard work. There's a difference between looking confident and being capable. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that appearing confident is enough to get ahead. They walk into rooms with a loud voice, they post quotes, they dress sharp, they speak like they've already made it. But when the moment comes to deliver something that actually matters, they fall short. Because deep down, they skip the work. And the truth is, no matter how well you act, you can't hide from the results of your effort. Real success doesn't respond to image. It responds to performance. And performance only comes from real hard work. Fake confidence is easy, it's cheap. Anyone can copy it, but it falls apart fast under pressure. When it's time to make decisions, when it's time to stay focused for hours, when it's time to push through discomfort, fake confidence disappears. It has no backbone. It's loud until tested. That's why you see so many people talk big in the beginning, but fade when things get real. They didn't train. They didn't grind. They just memorized lines. They built an identity without the foundation to hold it up. If you want to build something solid, stop trying to look the part and start doing what the part actually requires. That means late nights with no applause. That means facing your weak points without trying to hide them. That means being the person who works when nobody's watching. Because real confidence isn't built in public. It's earned in private, through discipline, through focus, through repetition. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to announce your plans, and you don't need approval. What you need is to get better, day by day, without distraction. The person who becomes powerful is the one who puts energy into results instead of image.
They're not interested in being seen. They're interested in being skilled. They don't care if they get credit for the work. They just want to know that the work is getting done. People are out here talking about mindset and positivity like it replaces effort. It doesn't. You can't trick yourself into being excellent. You earn it through grind, through time, through decisions that hurt now and pay off later. If you want to stop feeling like an imposter, stop acting and start becoming. Fake confidence feels good for a moment. Real hard work feels hard at first, but pays you for a lifetime. You don't need more hype. You don't need more praise. You need to sit down and do the uncomfortable work you've been putting off. The kind of work that doesn't give you results right away. The kind of work that takes weeks, months, sometimes years to show value. That's what separates the real ones from the talkers. That's what builds quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't have to shout. The kind that shows up when everything's on the line. You can tell when someone has put in the hours. They don't need to convince anyone. They don't explain or defend themselves. They don't perform for attention. They stay calm in chaos. They move with direction. That's the energy that comes from real work. And the only way to get it is to stop playing a role and start earning your stripes. If you've been chasing attention more than improvement, it's time to pause and reset. Ask yourself what actually matters. Would you rather impress people who don't even care about your future? Or would you rather build something you can carry for the rest of your life? Would you rather talk about goals or live them? That decision matters. And once you choose to stop performing and start producing, everything changes. Your value is not in how confident you appear. Your value is in how consistent you are. Can you focus without being told? Can you push when you're tired? Can you commit when the outcome is uncertain? That's what makes you real. Not the talk, not the attitude, but the hours you put in when no one is checking on you. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to pretend. Let your discipline speak for you. Let your results say everything that fake confidence tries to scream. Quiet people with real results will always outlast loud people with empty routines. So decide who you want to be. The one who's known for being impressive for a moment, or the one who becomes unstoppable for life. You build that by waking up early and doing the hard things first. You build that by showing up when you feel like quitting. You build that by giving your best, even on days you feel off. That's how self-respect grows. That's how you start trusting yourself again. Not through surface-level talk, but through raw, uncomfortable action. You don't need to post about what you're working on. You need to stay focused on actually doing it. While others are faking their grind, you're actually making progress. That's what gives you a calm kind of power. The kind that doesn't need permission. The kind that doesn't beg for praise. You know you've earned it because you've lived it. Every hour you put in becomes part of your foundation. Every honest effort you make strengthens your character. There's no shortcut to real growth. You have to show up when you're tired. You have to improve when no one's watching. You have to fix your flaws without being told. That's where confidence comes from. Not from pretending, from proving. If you've been faking it, stop. Not tomorrow. Not when life feels easier. Now. Cut the noise. Cancel the show. Get back to the basics. Write down what needs to be done. Do it. Do it again. And keep doing it until it becomes who you are. That's how real change happens. Not by pretending to be confident, but by becoming so capable you don't need to pretend at all. If the only thing you're building is an image, you will break the moment life tests you. But if you build real skills, real strength, and real focus, you'll be ready, and you'll stay ready. While everyone else is resetting, you'll be rising. Not because you looked confident, but because you did the work. So trade the fake confidence for real effort. Trade the shortcuts for structure. Trade the image for identity. You won't regret it, because what you build in silence, no one can take from you. The confidence that comes from real hard work doesn't crack under pressure. It doesn't run from failure. It stands tall because it's built from something real. And in the long run, that's the only kind of confidence that matters. Number 7, decide who you want to be right now. Your life won't change until you make a clear decision about who you want to become. Not tomorrow, not next month. Right now, everything you're doing today, everything you're saying yes or no to, is shaping the kind of person you're becoming. And if you're not clear about who that is, then you're not in control of your life. You're reacting. You're drifting. You're letting the day choose for you. That's how people stay stuck for years, without even realizing it. They never stop to decide who they actually want to be. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect moment.
They wait to feel ready. They wait for something outside of them to push them into action. But the truth is, the most powerful change always starts with a personal decision. A real, firm, no going back kind of decision. Not the kind you announce on social media. The kind you make in silence, in your own head, when no one else is watching. That decision becomes your anchor. That decision becomes your new standard. This isn't about trying to change everything overnight. It's about becoming someone different by thinking different, choosing different, and acting different. Starting now. Not when your schedule clears. Not when you feel motivated. Now. Because if you don't decide who you want to be, the world will do it for you, and it will make you small. It will turn you into someone that fits in, instead of someone who stands out. You'll follow instead of lead. You'll settle instead of rise. Deciding who you want to be is not some vague wish. It's clarity. It's identity. And once you define that identity, your behavior starts changing. You don't need as much willpower anymore, because your actions now match your new standard. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop making choices based on comfort. You start making choices based on who you've committed to becoming. Close your eyes and think about this. If you had no fear, no self-doubt, and no past holding you back, what kind of person would you be? How would you walk? How would you speak? What would your priorities look like? That's the version of you that's already possible. But you have to claim it. You have to step into it before you feel fully ready for it. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first, because it demands more from you than you're used to giving. That's the point. You're not going to feel like becoming someone stronger. You have to decide to become someone stronger. That means rewriting your habits. That means telling the truth about what's not working. That means doing the hard things that the old version of you avoided. And it all starts the moment you make a decision and stop entertaining anything less. Look around at your life, your daily routine, the way you spend your time, the way you treat your body, the way you talk to yourself. All of it is either building the person you want to be or pulling you away from it. There is no neutral. Every action is casting a vote for your identity. And the longer you wait to choose who you want to be, the more those small choices pull you into patterns you didn't consciously create. You can't live on autopilot and expect to become your best self. That only happens when you take full ownership of your direction. Decide what matters to you. Decide what values you stand for. Decide what type of life is non-negotiable. Then start acting in alignment with that every single day. Even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. That's when it counts the most. You won't always feel confident. You won't always feel clear, but you can always be honest with yourself. If you say you want to grow, but you're still repeating the same habits from last year, you're lying to yourself. If you say you want to be successful, but you're avoiding the uncomfortable work, you're wasting time. You don't need more books. You don't need another course. You need a personal decision, followed by immediate action. Decide to stop playing small. Decide to raise your standards. Decide to no longer accept the version of yourself that keeps breaking promises. That's how things start shifting. That's how you stop living a reactionary life and start creating one you respect. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. What matters is the decision you make right now. Your future is not waiting for you to figure things out perfectly. It's waiting for you to decide and move. You learn by moving. You grow by doing. You gain clarity by taking steps. Stop waiting for everything to make sense before you begin. Begin now. Begin with the version of you that shows up with commitment, not with hesitation. From this moment on, you need to start acting like the person you want to become. You don't need permission. You don't need proof. You don't need validation. You just need to show up differently. You need to stop answering to the lazy voice inside your head that keeps dragging you into old patterns. That voice is not your truth. That voice is your fear talking. And fear doesn't care about your future. It just wants you to stay safe and small. But you weren't made to stay small. You weren't made to just survive. You were made to grow, to lead, to change things, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. And you can't do any of that while you keep acting like the old you. So today is the line. You draw it right now. You decide who you want to be, and you refuse to act like anyone less than that from this point forward. That decision needs to live in everything you do. The way you speak, the way you spend your time, the way you deal with setbacks, the way you push through tired days,
The way you keep showing up when nobody claps for you. That's who you become. Not someone who needs the right conditions, but someone who brings strength into any condition. That version of you already exists. You just have to decide to show up as them. Stop being passive in your own story. Stop letting the day decide who you are. Stop giving your energy to distractions, weak habits, and useless routines that don't serve your future. From now on, you move with intention. You speak with purpose. You live with discipline. And every choice you make echoes the person you've decided to become. That's how you change your life. Not by waiting, not by hoping, but by deciding and backing that decision up with action. Every hour, every day, starting right now.
Number 8, break one comfort that's making you stay average. Everyone wants growth, but not everyone is ready to give up the comfort that's keeping them stuck. And the truth is, the things that feel the most safe are often the very things holding you back. You don't need to destroy everything in your life to move forward. You just need to break one comfort that's making you stay average. Just one. Because one small comfort, if repeated every day, can become a wall between you and the person you were supposed to become. And unless you decide to break that pattern, you're going to keep repeating the same year over and over with a different calendar. Comfort is sneaky. It doesn't look like a problem. It doesn't show up like a disaster. It shows up like a habit that feels innocent. Sleeping in, scrolling instead of reading, saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." Staying around people who don't challenge you, eating for relief instead of energy. These choices don't seem dangerous in the moment, but over time, they shape a life that never reaches its full potential. They build a version of you that settles for average, even when you know you're meant for more. There's nothing wrong with rest. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life. But when your comfort becomes a routine that replaces your ambition, it's time to stop and ask yourself, what's this comfort costing me? Because it's costing something. Every hour spent in comfort that doesn't serve your growth is an hour taken from your future. And once you see that clearly, you can't unsee it. You have to decide what matters more, your short-term ease or your long-term greatness. Look at your day. Pick one comfort that has no value beyond the moment. One habit you keep defending, even though it's doing nothing for your progress. You don't have to give it up forever. Just stop long enough to see how your life feels without it. If your first reaction is to protect it, that's a sign. That's the comfort you need to break. Because the ones we defend the most are usually the ones we're most attached to, and that attachment is the problem. People think the hardest part of growth is the big effort, but most of the time, it's not. It's the discomfort of losing your routine pleasures. It's the quiet resistance that comes when you say no to something easy. You'll feel tension, you'll feel restlessness, but that's part of breaking the spell. That's part of becoming someone who chooses purpose over pattern. And once you push through that resistance, you start building momentum. You start moving forward in a way that feels real, not just exciting, but grounded. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about waking yourself up. Waking up to how much power you've given to habits that aren't helping you. Waking up to how much energy you're leaking through distractions. Waking up to how many times you've chosen comfort over growth, just because growth felt hard. The truth is, it's supposed to feel hard. If it didn't, everyone would be great. If it didn't, you wouldn't even need to grow. But if you can do the hard thing once, you can do it again. And each time you do, you raise your standard. Don't wait until your life feels like a mess to make a change. Don't wait for pain to push you. Use clarity. Use self-awareness. Look around and say, this habit is keeping me average, and I'm done with it. That one decision can shift your entire path. Not because it changes everything at once, but because it starts a chain reaction. You stop giving yourself an easy way out. You stop saying maybe later. You start making space for something better. Nobody's coming to take your comfort away. You have to give it up by choice. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it real. When you decide to let go of what's familiar, not because someone told you to, but because you finally saw the truth for yourself, that's when you take control. That's when you start living with intention. That's when you stop being a passenger in your own story. You might feel fear. That's normal. Your mind doesn't like uncertainty. It likes what it knows.
even if what it knows is keeping you small. That's why you feel resistance the moment you try to break a comfort. Your brain says, "Are you sure? Isn't this fine?" And that's when you remind yourself, I didn't come here to stay fine. I came here to get better. And getting better starts with getting uncomfortable on purpose. You'll feel withdrawal. You'll feel the habit trying to pull you back. That's not weakness. It's the process. Let it happen. Let the discomfort come. Sit with it instead of running. Because every time you sit with it, you build strength. You train your mind to stop panicking when things feel different. And that strength becomes your new advantage. That strength makes it easier to say no next time. That strength replaces the old comfort with something more powerful, self-control. People won't see the change right away, but you will. You'll feel it in the way you walk. You'll feel it in the way you talk to yourself. You'll feel it when you choose effort over ease and realize that you didn't break, you got stronger. That moment matters. That's how self-respect grows. That's how real confidence begins. This isn't about becoming cold or rigid. It's about being honest. You know what's holding you back. You've known for a while, and the longer you ignore it, the longer you stay stuck in a loop that doesn't match your vision. But the moment you break that one comfort, even for a few days, you send a message to your future. I'm serious now. I'm not playing around. I'm not here to stay the same. That one choice can lead to many more. You skip the comfort food, and your energy improves. You say no to the easy distraction, and your focus sharpens. You break the cycle of sleeping in, and you finally have time to work on yourself. Each broken comfort becomes a doorway to a better version of you. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's consistent. That's what changes a life. Not a giant leap, a daily commitment to choosing what's hard but right. You already know which comfort needs to go. It's not a mystery. It's the thing you don't want to talk about. The thing you've justified 100 times. The thing that makes you feel safe but leaves you stuck. Pick it, call it out, break it, replace it with a new standard. Not a punishment, but a better path. A path that builds you, not numbs you. And if you fall back into it tomorrow, don't quit, don't spiral. Just pause and restart. One comfort broken once can be broken again. Every time you get up and try again, you weaken its grip. Eventually it loses power. Eventually it stops feeling like a loss and starts feeling like freedom. That's when you know you've turned the corner. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for pain. Decide now. Decide that you've had enough of playing small. Decide that one comfort isn't worth your full potential. Decide that growth matters more than ease. Then act. Act without delay. Break it today. You'll feel uncomfortable. You'll feel uncertain. And you'll also feel alive. Because now you're not just dreaming of a better life. You're creating one hard choice at a time.
Number 9. Fix your relationship with effort and discomfort today. Most people don't grow because they've built the wrong relationship with effort and discomfort. Somewhere along the way, they were taught to see discomfort as a signal to stop, and effort as something to avoid, unless it leads to quick rewards. So every time something feels hard, they back off. Every time the task gets boring or slow, they escape to something easier. And they wonder why things don't change. They wonder why results never show up. They think they lack talent, time, or support. But the truth is, they've just never learned how to handle effort without resentment or discomfort without fear. And that needs to be fixed. Not someday, but today. There is no progress without friction. There is no strength without resistance. You can't evolve if your first instinct is to retreat the moment things get tough. That's not a mindset built for results. That's a mindset built for comfort. And comfort, when it becomes your default response, slowly becomes your prison. You stop growing. You start shrinking. You let opportunity pass because you're not willing to deal with the inconvenience of effort. You stay stuck, not because you're incapable, but because your relationship with effort is broken. Effort is not the enemy. Discomfort is not a punishment. They are tools. They are signals. They are the weight that makes you stronger. But you've got to stop looking at them like something that's getting in your way. You've got to stop waiting for everything to feel smooth before you begin, because nothing worth building starts easy. Every meaningful change demands discomfort. Every skill worth having comes with repetition, fatigue, and challenge. Every goal that matters will ask for more effort than you expected. And that's not a sign to back off. That's the sign that you're finally doing something real. When you treat effort like pain, you'll always look for shortcuts. You'll skip steps. You'll try to rush the process. You'll cheat the reps, cheat the hours, and cheat yourself. And every time you do, you build a habit of underperformance. You start to believe you're not capable of doing hard things. Not because it's true, but because you've never stayed long enough in discomfort to prove otherwise. If you want to rise above average, that ends today. You've got to build a new relationship with what challenges you. Start by shifting your language. Stop saying, "This is too hard." Say instead, "This is exactly what I need." When your mind says, "I don't feel like doing this," respond with, "That's why I must do it." You retrain your mind by overriding the reflex to run. You teach your body that resistance is normal, not dangerous. You face discomfort the same way you face cold water. You breathe through it, you step in and you adjust. That's how you get better. That's how you get stronger. Look back at any time you've made real progress. It didn't come from taking it easy. It came from pushing through, from sitting with tension, from doing the work that didn't give you immediate results. And that's the pattern you need to repeat. The more you practice leaning into effort, the less intimidating it becomes. What used to feel overwhelming starts to feel manageable. What once drained you now builds you. That's the reward for showing up when it's hard. Discomfort should not feel like a warning. It should feel like a sign that you're in the zone where change happens. You don't grow at the edge of your limits. You grow when you go past them. And that stretch, that uncomfortable space, is where you become someone new. Someone who doesn't run when things get heavy. Someone who keeps going even when every part of them wants to quit. That kind of mindset doesn't just show up. You have to build it. And the only way to build it is through effort. Real, honest, consistent effort. You've got to stop negotiating with the parts of yourself that want to stay small. Stop making deals with your excuses. Stop letting your feelings decide how much work you're going to give. Give the work because the work is required, not because you feel ready, not because it's convenient, but because you owe it to your future. That's what discipline is. That's what separates winners from those who stay stuck in cycles. Make this personal. Think about what your current avoidance is costing you. Think about what kind of life you're settling for, just because effort makes you uncomfortable. Think about the impact you could be having if you didn't keep pulling back every time things got challenging. That thought should bother you. It should shake you enough to make a change, not out of guilt, but out of urgency. Because time doesn't wait for your mindset to catch up. Every day you avoid hard things is a day you lose progress. You don't get that time back. So stop wasting it. Build a daily routine that includes things you don't want to do. Not because you're trying to punish yourself, but because you're trying to retrain your mind to stop resisting effort. Start small, one hard thing a day. Wake up earlier than you want. Do a task you usually delay. Speak up when you normally stay quiet. Face something that normally makes you retreat. These small moments are your training ground. They prepare you for the bigger challenges ahead. And when you feel like quitting, when the discomfort starts to rise, take that as proof that you're growing. That's your signal to stay with it. That's your moment to practice holding the line. Not forever, just a little longer than you did yesterday. That's how you stretch your threshold. That's how you build real toughness. You don't need to be born with it. You build it, one decision at a time. Reward the effort, not just the outcome. Celebrate the days you showed up, not just the days you won. Because showing up, when it's hard, is what makes winning possible. You don't win by luck. You don't win by waiting. You win by earning it through discomfort, through grit, through repetition. That's the formula. And it never changes. And if you fail, if you fall short, that's fine. Failure is not the opposite of effort. It's part of it. As long as you don't quit, you're still in the game. What matters is that you don't run back to comfort just because the process stung a little. Stay in it, own the loss, learn from it. Then get up and try again, stronger, clearer, and more focused than before. This is your responsibility. No one's gonna fix your mindset for you. No one's gonna walk up and hand you resilience. You've got to build it.
You've got to earn it. And it starts by fixing your relationship with effort and discomfort. Not tomorrow. Today. Because today is all you have. Today is where the next version of you is built. Not when things feel better. Not when life gets easier. Right here. Right now. Through effort that demands more from you. Through discomfort that reveals what you're made of. Choose to face it, and everything about your future begins to change.
Number 10. Stop scrolling and start building your actual future. Every time you pick up your phone and start scrolling, you're choosing someone else's life over your own. You're watching what others are doing, while your own time quietly slips away. And the truth is, most people don't even realize they've made that trade. They wake up, reach for their phone, and before they know it, 45 minutes are gone. Then they say they don't have time. They say they're overwhelmed. They say they want to build something great. But they're spending more energy consuming than creating. That's not just a distraction. That's a pattern that kills dreams in silence. Look at how much of your day gets spent on content that doesn't help you grow. How many times have you told yourself, just 5 minutes, and suddenly it's an hour later and you've done nothing that matters? That little habit, done enough times, becomes a lifestyle. You might not feel the damage right away, but it builds up. It's like rust on your discipline, a slow decay of your focus. And if you don't stop and take control, you wake up one day and realize you've spent more time watching others live than building a life you're proud of. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more information. You already know what you want. You already know what needs to be done. The only thing standing in the way is your attention. And if you keep giving it away to apps, feeds, and meaningless entertainment, you'll never have enough energy left to give to your real future. Every scroll is a choice. And if you don't start choosing better, your goals will turn into regrets. You can't build a strong future while living in distraction. You need presence. You need time blocks with no interruptions. You need quiet hours where it's just you and the work that moves you forward. That kind of life doesn't happen by accident. You have to fight for it. You have to protect it from the endless pull of digital noise. Because the apps you scroll are not designed to inform you. They're designed to trap you. They study your patterns, your pauses, your clicks, and they adjust to keep you hooked. You're not in control unless you take control. So what are you really doing when you scroll? You're escaping. You're avoiding. You're trading clarity for stimulation. It feels good for a moment, but it leaves you drained. And the worst part is, you don't even remember most of what you saw. You scroll and scroll, and at the end of it, you're not happier. You're not wiser. You're not closer to your goals. You're just more distracted, more tired, and more behind. Now think about what your future could look like if you used that same time to build. If you used it to learn a skill. If you used it to write down a plan. If you used it to move your body, to build your discipline, to organize your thoughts, to invest in something that actually lasts, your life would start to shift. Not all at once, but steadily, quietly, in ways that matter. You don't need to delete everything. You don't need to disappear. You just need to decide what matters more. Watching other people win or becoming someone who wins for real. Set a rule. Set a schedule. Give yourself 1 or 2 blocks of time a day for updates if you want. But outside those blocks, your phone is not your boss. Your time belongs to you. And if you don't respect your time, nobody else will either. Most people keep waiting for a perfect moment to change. But change doesn't come from more comfort. It comes from a decision. Right now, not later. You're already holding the tool that distracts you. You're already watching your time vanish in front of your face. So take your power back. Shut it off. Step away. Start building. That means writing down the next 3 things that would move your life forward. Maybe it's applying for something. Maybe it's reading 5 pages of a book that actually improves you. Maybe it's fixing your schedule so your day starts with structure. Maybe it's sending the email you've been avoiding. The point is, your future depends on how you handle the next few hours, not just the next few years. And right now, most of those hours are being stolen by a screen you can't stop touching. It's not just your time being taken. It's your mindset. The more you scroll, the more you compare. You start believing that everyone else is doing better than you. You forget that most of what you see is edited, filtered, staged. You compare your real life to their highlight reel, and then wonder why you feel behind. But you're not behind. You're just distracted, and distraction keeps you confused. You lose your focus. You forget your plan.
You start chasing validation instead of purpose. So what's the solution? It's not more noise. It's more silence, more work, more time spent with your own thoughts, more time investing in who you want to become. That's not always exciting, but it's necessary. Every great life is built on boring hours. Hours where no one is watching. Hours where no one is clapping. Hours where you keep going because you said you would, not because it feels good. It's easy to get caught in the loop. Open the app, scroll a little, check another one, bounce back and forth. Convince yourself you're just relaxing, but you're not relaxing. You're escaping, and you know it. You feel it in your gut. That small frustration that says this isn't helping. That's your conscience speaking. That's your future knocking. And if you ignore it long enough, it stops speaking. That's when you settle. That's when your dreams shrink. That's when your potential turns into what ifs. So break the cycle right now. Turn the screen off. Put it in another room. Stand up. Take one deep breath. Then take one small action toward your future. Doesn't have to be big, just real. Something that counts. Something that proves you're done wasting time on things that don't build you. Then do it again tomorrow. And again the day after. Stack the days. Build momentum. Watch what happens when your energy stops leaking into useless scrolling and starts flowing into action. You're not here to just observe life. You're here to shape it, to lead it, to build it. But you can't build anything with your head buried in a feed. So stop scrolling. Stop escaping. Start deciding. Start moving. Start becoming the person you keep saying you want to be. That version of you is not far away. It's just waiting for you to stop watching and start working. Your future won't be found in someone else's life. It will be built by the hours you spend creating your own. And those hours are starting now. Not next week. Not when you feel like it. Right now. Because if you don't begin today, you'll still be scrolling tomorrow. Still wondering where all your time went. So put the phone down. Pick your life up. It's time to build something real. If you truly want to attract real success, don't just walk away from this video feeling inspired. Walk away ready to do something, because nothing changes until you do. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Right now. Fix what needs to be fixed. Cut what needs to be cut. Start doing the things you've been avoiding. That's the only way to earn the results you say you want. Most people will hear this and keep living the same day over and over. But you're not most people. You're here because you're ready to live different. Be the one who takes action, not the one who keeps talking. If this message hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. And come back tomorrow. Because every day we're building the mindset, the habits, and the discipline it takes to win step by step. Your real success starts here. Don't stop now.